Business Talks discusses business within the community, sponsored by STCU. Well, welcome to a special edition of Business Talks, and I say it's a special edition because my guest today is somebody who is doing what I wanted to do back in high school, okay? Yes, back in the days when we went to high school in the carriage with the horses up front and all of that. I realize how old I am. Tony Jones, how are you?
These days I'm doing well, and that's as much as I could ask for.
Oh, good.
Right?
You have something coming up in August, don't you?
I don't know. Do I? Oh, I'm getting married.
Right. Just something like that, huh?
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah, well, for someone here who's been married for 53 years,
Wow.
That's a long time. You don't see that much anymore, do you?
You do not.
No.
I will ask you for notes later.
Yeah, okay. The notes would be the things to avoid
Yes,
more
please.
than anything.
Absolutely. Yes.
As I said in the opening, you're doing what I wanted to do, and I think we talked before we started that back in high school, I really wanted to be a photographer. I was very fortunate to have a mentor. I lived in Southern California in the Pasadena area, and he was a professional photographer that did Hollywood stars and CEOs and those that could write big checks,
Yeah.
okay, and so forth. I thought, this is not bad. I'd like to do this. And he invited me often to his studio, did things for our yearbook and so forth. And that's what I was intending to do. As often happens, life goes in different directions,
It does.
okay? And I have done photography over the years, but not recently, honestly, not in the last 10 years or so. I've been busy with other things. But you get to do what I wanted to do. What got you to that point? Back in grade school, junior high, high school, where did the photography bug bite you?
Well, when I was from the age of 17 to 22, I was a professional tour DJ. So I never worked in clubs.
Okay.
But if an artist came into the Southeast United States and needed a DJ for some reason, I would jump on the tour bus and work 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs.
Oh, fun.
And then go to a different one. Well, that became a negative lifestyle, as the music business can be. So I quit that and got the only job I've ever had outside of art. I worked for a company that supplied to contractors that built and maintained power plants.
Oh, okay.
So out of sheer boredom, I got into photography. So on the weekends, I picked up a camera, went around taking pictures of waterfalls or mountains or whatever I could find in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, one day, this gentleman named Ariel Perez invited me on a photo shoot. He's like, I'm going to go take pictures of this guy who had a dog kennel. He bred pit bulls. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to take pictures of people, but I'll go. And that day, I fell in love with taking portraits of people.
Wow.
Because you get to tell a story with
Yes.
no audio.
Yeah.
So through a series of images, you tell stories. And I worked with him for 2 or 3 years, and he became the mentor that you spoke of.
Right.
And he showed me so much of what I still use today, and that was 2005, 2006. So I didn't
Wow.
pick up a camera until I was 22.
Wow.
And then in 2009 is when I went into it full time.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Yeah. So the name of your company is?
Tony Jones Photography.
Okay. How long did it take you to figure that out?
I went through a couple names. I
Okay.
went through names like World Famous Photography and Anthony the Photographer, because I thought I was clever, and you want to be clever.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got some words of wisdom from a man who managed a Christian author. He's like, for business, you want to be somebody's guy. You want to be their guy. Like, if you have a mechanic, you have a guy named George the mechanic or something like that. You want to be somebody's guy, so go by Tony.
Right.
So I was like, oh, and my name flows fairly well.
Yes.
Tony Jones.
Right.
So I don't want to do like, no offense, but to like Shutterfly Photography. I don't want to do something like unicorn photography. So I
Right.
just went with my name, Tony Jones Photography.
Well, keep it simple, but keep it smart.
I want to be somebody's guy. That's right.
Yeah. You want to be somebody's guy.
Right.
Okay.
And now I am. I'm somebody's
You
guy.
are, yes, and it's going to get more intense in the next,
will.
month and a half?
Just around 2 months. Yes,
Yeah.
almost here.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
you doing? Are you ready?
I'm excited. I've never been engaged before.
Okay.
And I have had no kids in my life, and now I'm suddenly engaged, and I have 5 kids.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I know.
I have an instant family, and with my lifestyle, I've traveled all over the place doing what I do, and it just didn't suit having a family because
Yeah,
they'd have
no.
to either follow me or I'd have to be absent, and I didn't want that.
No.
So now that I'm fairly steady in one place, I have the thing that I never knew I wanted.
Yeah.
So-
I saw something just the other day. In fact, in the last, I'm going to say several weeks, you took a picture of a barn near you across the street. I think,
did,
even.
right.
Yeah. And then they burned it.
They did. They
Tell
did burn
that
it.
story because I think that's fascinating. You kind of followed through,
Yeah.
and you gave them a gift, which I think is
I
wonderful.
did.
Yes.
So there's this barn across from where I live, and I walk my dog behind it almost every day.
Okay.
There's just a field behind it, and they got a path back there for our other neighborhood kids that dirt bike out there.
Oh, sure.
So me and the dog, we just do laps because I can walk her over there, and it's super easy. And so we get beautiful sunsets here in Spokane.
Yes.
Absolutely stunning. And so I use that barn as inspiration almost every day when I'm not out on location somewhere else.
Okay.
And so I've captured so many sunsets behind this barn.
I'll bet.
And then the day that they decided to burn it down, they happened to be the owners happened to be out there who I'd never met before.
Oh, okay.
And through another neighborhood neighbor that I had known for a little while, introduced me, and I showed them the image a few of the images I had taken,
Right.
and they fell in love with a couple of them, and they chose one to have framed on a huge piece of metal.
Yes.
And they're going to build a house where that barn was,
Right.
and they're going to hang that over the fireplace.
Oh, fun.
yes,
Fun.
absolutely.
Now, when you say you put it on metal,
Yes.
there's more and more of that happening these days, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Tell me about that because I'm old enough to not have done any of that. Okay, but I know I've seen others do this.
Yeah.
What's involved?
So I can't tell you too much about what's involved because I have it all done out of
Sure.
company, but you can do various different styles. A lot of people like it on stop signs, or you can get a very specific piece of metal. But what metals do is they create beautiful contrast.
Okay.
And so when you have colors, the metal makes it pop so much more.
Yeah.
Whereas a canvas has a texture to it, like a linen-like texture.
Yes.
So it makes it more flat.
Yes.
So canvases are beautiful. They're classic. People love them. But they don't pop so much for color. And then you have prints on paper that are gorgeous and classic because you can frame it and mat it however
Right.
you want. But with a metal, you have something unique. And then we put these metal hangers on the back of them, so that way when you put it on the wall, it looks like it's floating off the wall.
Yes.
And many people have put LED lights behind their
Oh, that'd be
metal
fun.
framing,
Yes.
so that way it pops even more.
Right.
So people are very creative with what they do, and I just love having something I've composed and created and worked on inside their home.
Yep.
I think it's just a wonderful feeling.
And I saw the notes the other day, I think on Facebook or somewhere. They loved it.
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
just came and picked it up today
Oh,
and
fun.
just fell in love with it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that
And they were
is-
so thankful, and they're the nicest people.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. You made friends.
I did make friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, are they moving in there? Are their family moving in?
He, the son of the parents who own it, is going to be building a house there.
Yes.
And he will be my neighbor.
Oh, fun.
Absolutely, and I look forward to it.
That's great. What do you like to specialize in? I mean, there's everything from portraits,
Mm-hmm.
from indoors and outdoors, to landscape, to old towns, to, I mean, you name it.
Right.
What are a couple of the top things you really like to do?
Well, as an artist, you have to kind of do a little bit of everything in order to make a living.
Yeah.
So I do portraits and birthdays and all this stuff, but I love landscapes
Okay.
because you don't have to tell a sunrise that it's beautiful. It just is.
Yeah.
You don't have to remind a lake to pose a certain way. It just does.
Yes.
So what I love is I love waterfalls.
Yes.
Because you can angle them from behind flowers. You can angle them from behind a tree.
Yes.
You can just do so many different things with it. You can take it where you can see little drops of water. You can take it to where the water's smooth. There's so many different things you can do with a waterfall.
And in the photography, you can pick up things that we just don't see on a normal basis.
Absolutely.
You know, and
Absolutely.
highlight them and make them really stand out.
Yes.
And so
And
forth.
I'm a digital editor as well, so sometimes I'll add some things that necessarily wasn't there because I like to tell a story.
Okay.
I consider myself a storyteller. So say I've created this waterfall and this sunset's right behind it.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to add some birds. I'll add some birds to it. Or I'll add a deer off in the distance. Just something that will tell a story and give you a feeling that I was trying to get across while I was taking it.
Yeah.
You know? And some people, they may not like that, but I like to tell a story.
Well, the fact is, the birds and the deers and the others do come across there.
They do.
But do you sit there for 6 days waiting for all
Right.
that to happen at the right time?
And I
mean,
do my research, so I know what kind of birds are in the area.
gee.
I know the kind of deer. So if it's a mule deer or white-tailed deer, I do know the difference in if they're in that area.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'll never add a bighorn sheep in an area of the country that a bighorn sheep doesn't live in.
Oh, so you're very careful there.
I spend a lot of time researching.
There's so much to talk with you about, Tony, and so let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and
Sounds good.
continue the conversation.
Thank you.
With Tony Jones.
National Barricade and Sign Company is a well-established company founded in 1957. National Barricade has become a well-known business in the Spokane Valley for more than 50 years. Over the years, we have built long-lasting relationships with many cities, counties, and their departments of transportation. Customers come to us because they know they are going to get the best quality service at the best possible price. National Barricade prides itself on getting the job done in a timely manner. We know that contractors must have certain items in a timely fashion to get their job done, and if we don't have it, we will get it. We guarantee fast service no matter how long it takes.
After I got divorced, I had medical debt, credit card debt, and student loan debt. I was dealing with a lot of guilt. I found myself shopping to feel better. When my son was born, wanting to manage my finances was no longer a want, it was actually a need. STCU made that possible for me. I use that mobile app every single day. I'm able to color code all of my different savings accounts. And when you have nice things to look at, I think it brings you on a deeper level of motivation. I'm Kamika Love, the Budget Mom, and STCU is here for good.
I'm former Washington State Representative Leonard Christian, and since I left office, the budget has almost doubled, and the governor signed comprehensive K-12 sex education into law. He's also abused his emergency powers. I'm asking for your support to help me return to Olympia so that I can protect businesses and families. I'm Leonard Christian, the reasonable right candidate, and I ask for your vote.
Paid for by Leonard Christian for State Representative, Republican.
Welcome to Apex Plaza, Spokane's one-stop cannabis destination. Apex Cannabis features thousands of economy, value, and luxury cannabis products. Cannagear features hemp-based CBD products, glass, goods, and gear. Stop by 1325 North Division to experience the Apex difference.
This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risk associated with the consumption of this product. For use only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
Well, welcome back. Tony Jones, photographer extraordinaire.
Yes,
I
sir.
love your beautiful photos.
I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's maybe one of these times I'll go out with you and we'll shoot some. I haven't done that. Do you have a camera I could borrow?
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. I go back to the last camera I had had film in it.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it had pictures I took out at Turnbull out in Cheney. And my grandson, one of my grandsons, was taking a photography class up at Ferris High School and asked me if I had a film camera. Well, yes, I do. I haven't used it for years. And so he took it with the old film in it that had been there for, I'm going to say this is 12 or 15 years ago. That's how old it is. But anyway, I had all the lenses and everything else. And now people go, film? What's film? The advantage today is that when you're out there shooting is that you can see if it looks good, if it's not, and so forth. I remember when the ghost town I was talking about in Bodie, we were doing transparencies, okay? And our leader, our leader of that program would develop the transparencies late at night when the sun went down and everything else because we're out camping and so forth, so we could see our work and not everything we took, but for one roll for each of us so we could get some idea of we're really off here or whatever. And that was helpful. And today, I mean, you can even sit on an iPhone and get some pretty decent pictures and so forth, and you can see what you're doing. You can frame it right. And so forth. What advice do you have for those of us who have family activities and I mean everything from graduations to birthdays and so forth, about some simple things that we can do to take better pictures.
So I will say, all right, so the word photography comes from the Greek words photos and graphos.
Okay.
So it means writer of light. So basically the most important thing is your lighting.
Okay.
So if you're taking selfies at home or doing birthday parties or something, have available light around.
Okay.
You don't want to worry about the light that's above your head because it's going to give you harsh shadows. So open up those windows. Do not be afraid to be in front of a window.
Okay.
Move the kids over.
Yeah.
Move people over. Get in front of some good light. Open up that door. So light is the most important thing.
Interesting.
And if you want to get into photography and not drop a lot of money, I always say get a cheap camera,
Yeah.
but invest in your lens.
Yes.
So
yes.
lenses are the most important thing.
Yes.
You can have a $10 camera, but if you have like a $400 or $500 lens, you're going to have really good-looking photos.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that
that's
really
always
does make the difference,
it
doesn't it?
makes a lot of
Because
difference.
everything comes through the lens.
It does.
And-
And you were speaking of film just now. So I love the film look,
Yes.
but I don't like the process of film.
Yeah.
So I have old M42 lenses from way back in the 60s and 70s
Yes.
that I use with an adapter on my camera. So you still got that aperture on the lens and the manual
Yes.
focus, and you get that soft feel that a film camera gives you. And you can actually still see instantly what you're getting. So you don't have to worry about processing it later. Or
Yes.
You get it right then. And because there's no mechanics inside of that lens, you're getting all these beautiful colors. If a sun flare comes in, it's just going to melt.
Yeah.
It's just going to be so beautiful that a digital lens just won't give you because it's filtering out that light.
I remember back in the days of standard def TV,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and we were shooting when I was at what was then Washington Water Power, now newer folks will call it Avista, and we were shooting some commercials for to support education.
Mm-hmm.
Go talk to your teacher on teacher nights and things like that, and I insisted almost everything be shot in film because I liked the look of film.
Absolutely.
Okay, even though it was by today's standard, not what we have in high def and so forth. And I know today with all the electronics and so forth, you can basically duplicate that, can't you?
You can get really close to it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can even trick a lot of people.
Yeah. Yes.
But you can still use those old lenses, or you can use filters they have on the iPhone
Yeah.
or an Android.
Or a software.
Absolutely.
I mean, welcome to
Absolutely.
today, right?
Yeah.
How much is done these days at the software end versus the shooting?
I would say if it's not half and half, it might even be more in
Yeah.
post-processing.
Yeah.
Because if I'm out on location and there's a trash can in the image, I'm going to have to Photoshop that trash can. So I want to give you this feeling that I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I do this for the people who can't get out and about. So
Yeah.
I want to let them see this thing that they have in their mind.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to be distracted by a person sitting there or
Right.
a trash can.
Right.
Or if there's a weird process in the image up in the corner, you got to take that out.
Yeah.
There's so much work done in processing.
Gosh, no kidding. You did a friend of mine and her fiance,
Yes, sir.
Tracy.
Yes.
What I'm going to say 2 months ago, or
Yeah, about 2 months ago, yeah.
yeah, out in the river, out in the valley,
Yeah.
and so forth. Why did you pick that site?
I think they actually may have chose it.
Okay.
Because I'm very new to the area.
Okay.
And they said they love that trail out there.
Yes.
And they mentioned the waterfall.
Okay.
That I know a certain someone had a part of.
Yeah.
And so we went out there, and I had never been there before, but it's so gorgeous.
Yes.
You have the river right there. You have fields that look like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You have a waterfall. And all of this right in between a road, right beside a parking spot.
Right.
So the ease of access to this wildlife,
Yeah.
this beautiful nature shot, it was just perfect.
Yeah, we are. You can talk to people like my friends at North by Northwest Productions and others that have done TV series and so forth, and they just tell me constantly that we can duplicate any place in the country here in Spokane with a few changes.
Oh, wow.
You know, that downtown area can be made into New York if you pick the right buildings.
That's
and,
right.
and so forth. And we are very fortunate. And you can go, 15 minutes out of town and see wheat fields and
Yeah.
and
The rolling hills
the-
of the Palouse.
Yes.
That's not something really you get anywhere else.
No.
Not even Kansas with their rolling wheat fields. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like the Palouse.
I thought it was all flat, and
It's very flat. So it's just flat golden wheat.
we aren't in Kansas anymore.
We're not,
Yeah.
fortunately. And then when you have the Palouse and when the sun's setting, you get those shadows over the hills.
Yes.
It just gives that 3D effect
Oh,
that
no
you
kidding.
can't replicate anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we are very truly lucky to have have this up here.
We really are, and it's a gorgeous area, and as I mentioned, I've been here 40 some years, and people ask, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm from Spokane. Yeah, I lived in LA for 30 years, but I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Right.
Had family and friends and all of that, but honestly, we live here,
Right.
and I emphasize the word live. It's just
Yes, sir.
we're able to do that. And I had kids who went through junior high and high school that, oh, Dad, to get a job, it'll have to be Seattle or some big city and all that, who are all working here now except one, and she's at a hospital over in Bellingham. But I mean, it's a great place.
I've
It really
moved
is.
probably once a year for the last, I don't know, 15, 16 years.
Really?
And this is truly, honestly, the first
Is
place
this
I've
home
ever-
now?
It feels like home. And I've never
Yeah.
lived somewhere that just felt like home. Even when I go back to where my parents live,
Right.
it doesn't feel like home. I mean, it feels like home because I'm with them in their
Of
home.
course, yes.
But once I step outside,
It's
it's
foreign.
land. It is.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like I belong. But when I'm here, this is a city, but with a town feel. It's such community-driven people, and I love that.
Okay, I got to know this. Just a kind of a fun question. You've got the wedding coming up. Who's
Mm-hmm.
going to be your photographer?
That's funny that you asked that. I met another photographer. He doesn't do it professionally, but he lives in Post Falls, Idaho.
Okay.
His name is Daniel. He
Okay.
does VR work.
Okay.
And I asked him because he taught me some about my camera that I wasn't familiar with.
Ooh,
Because
okay.
he does video work for his VR. And so I asked him if he would be a part of it, and he said absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of inappropriate for you to be taking your own
Right.
pictures, right?
Right.
But my guess is you might do a selfie or two.
More than likely I will
More than
be.
likely.
Well, my soon-to-be wife is what they call the selfie queen.
Oh, yes, she
So
is.
I'll-
Oh, yes.
She will be taking a lot of selfies, I'm sure.
I've got to ask, is her phone just connected to her hand?
Both of them. She has two of them, one personal phone and a work
Oh,
phone.
gee.
Yes, but I completely understand.
I'm
That's
going to
where
hear from her on this, aren't I?
more than likely.
More than likely. Yeah.
But she is a fantastic woman. I could not be happier.
Yeah.
And I support her in everything she does.
Yeah, she's a real leader in Spokane, and she doesn't put up with a lot.
She does not.
No.
And I'll tell you, that's both in public and at home. She does not
I
put up with
didn't
much.
want to ask about that, but yeah.
She puts me in my place when I need to.
Good,
And I need
good,
that.
good.
I do not want someone who takes it.
So other than a little wedding coming
Mm-hmm.
up this August, what's on your agenda? What photo shoots will you be doing?
Well, I'll tell you now that COVID has lightened up a little bit and the
Yeah.
parks have reopened, not just in Washington, but around the country.
Right.
Because in April, I was supposed to be in Banff and Jasper, but because they closed that border
Yeah.
in Canada, I'm now going to Glacier because I just bought a four-wheel drive truck because you have to have one living up here.
Of course.
And so I'm going to go to Glacier for my first time ever because I've been to Yellowstone a dozen times and it's so beautiful, but everybody tells me Glacier's gorgeous.
Oh.
And it's less than 6 hours away.
Wow.
So I have to go there. I haven't explored Rainier yet, so I want to
Okay.
go west and
Okay.
explore Wenatchee and
Yes.
Leavenworth and the whole northern Cascades.
Yes. Beautiful.
And I'm slowly getting into wildlife photography, and
Okay.
people tell me I need to go to Turnbull in Cheney.
Yes.
I have not been out there. They tell me I can find moose out there.
Yes. I remember I don't remember the moose, but I remember some deer shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is beautiful out there.
I love everything about this area.
Yeah.
Even when I go out to Steptoe Butte, which is
Yes.
what is it out there? By what college is that? It's the
Well, it's down toward WSU.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. On that way, you just keep going straight instead
Right.
of that turnoff. And being out there.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there but those rolling hills.
Yes.
Or you
I've
go-
seen some beautiful shots from
It's
out
so
there at the
beautiful.
right time of the light and everything
Absolutely.
else.
I have a friend who's a representative that lives out there, and I see every evening she's posting a photo of the sunset, and I just envy that. That's her backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I have all these friends across the state that they share their images of their backyards, and I'm like, that's where I need to go, and that's where I find my inspiration.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time on Google Earth.
Oh, do you?
Just looking around, where are they? Oh, I'm going to go there. Now I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm going to see what time of day this looks like.
Okay.
Because Google Earth lets you view the landscape at different times of day.
Oh, wow.
So I need to see what the evening looks like, the morning looks like, the nighttime. Is the Milky Way going to be out? Is it going to be a full moon? Will I get any stars?
And you were telling me you're still learning.
I'm still learning. There's so much to know about this stuff. And now that I'm slowly getting into wildlife, I have to figure out what wildlife are up here.
Yeah.
How I can protect myself from that wildlife if it turns
How
on
do you
me.
do that with all the kids there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. I am still figuring all this out.
Yeah.
Such is life, right?
Yeah, well, we're always learning. We learn when we get old, or
Yeah.
in my case, ancient.
Oh.
Yeah. How can people reach you?
My website is TonyJonesPhotography.com.
Okay.
You can find me on Facebook. Just type in Tony Jones. I have a Facebook page. I have Instagram at I'm Tony Jones.
Okay.
I try to keep it as simple as possible.
I was going to say, I see a trend here.
Yeah.
Tony Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, me and my friends used to joke I should create a website called whoistonyjones.com and create this whole myth around me and sell merchandise. But
Yeah.
this is my first interview publicly because I'm not big on talking about myself.
Okay.
So I never went forward with that avenue.
Yeah.
But-
well, you did just fine.
Well, I do appreciate
But
that.
did you get worried a little bit that I might bark at you or something?
No, I was like, don't need to lose 20 pounds. I got to shave my head.
Hey, we all have the COVID-15.
Oh, I got
okay.
the COVID
So
50.
or 50. Well, okay. Well, then you stayed home more than I did, or
Oh,
something.
cupcakes are good.
Yeah. And you've got a family that can kind of put it together too.
Oh, man, the food at home,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
We've had to start eating out so I can not eat so much.
I love it, Tony. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
all that you
much.
do.
Thank you.
Again, how can they reach you?
TonyJonesPhotography.com.
All right, that's really simple. All right, thanks for watching the Business Talks, and have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by STCU.